Well, autumn's here for some of us. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, overnight temperatures down to single figures, 6, 7 and 8 overnight, even though the daytime temperatures are still mid and high 20s and early 30s. And the doc from Neutrog is here to tell us about some of those jobs that you can tackle now that autumn is arriving. Good morning, Yuri.
Good morning, Graham. How are you?
Good, thank you, pal.
Fantastic. Well, I'm hoping we've seen the back of summer and we're moving into some milder conditions, but in autumn there's always a few jobs that should be tackled early on, and the first is keep up the water. I think a lot of people seem to think that we've had a bit of rain and you really need to keep lots of water up because it takes a lot of rain to overcome that dry spell, but it's also a great time to actually think about keeping some of that warmth in the soil. So that's a really important thing. So it's a good time to keep the mulch up, and the warmth allows any newly planted trees and shrubs and the like to really get well established. Yeah,
that's very true. I opened the show this morning and I said, yeah, this is your second last chance to get plants fertilised before the onset. So if you fertilise them today, most fertilisers that you guys have got at Neutrog are 2 to 3 months, so you can get another feed in late autumn, but you've got to do it this weekend. So, but what about all the soil microbes? What about those?
Well, there's two things that soil microbes love. They love a bit of warmth, and they love that moisture. So autumn is the time that these critters really kick along. They really get to work breaking down that organic matter that you put out. So get out that compost and the soil amendment, because now nutrient cycling will really work well, because when it gets colder, just as plants slow down, so do the microbes. So if you do that early in autumn, it allows the plants to take up those nutrients and store them. And this is really important for deciduous plants, as they need to store nutrients to come back in spring. I know it seems a bit odd to talk about it now, but in 2 months' time, it's going to be too late for deciduous plants to take full advantage of what you do early on in autumn. Yeah,
dead right. That's exactly why I was talking about feeding this morning. And fertilising, yeah, obviously it's a good time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, for fruit trees, I'd use gigantic, because you've probably picked most of the fruit and that removes those nutrients from the garden and they need to be replaced. So gigantic is really, really good for that. And again, in essence, in my opinion, would be also a great time to start mulching, especially around trees like citrus. You like to have a bit of warmth for as long as possible, because in autumn you tend to be really, really busy, but it's a great time to get out there now. See, I'm really busy at my place at the moment.
Yeah, Whoflungdunging.
That's right.
That's what you got to get out there, folks. Get the Whoflungdung. I was talking about cow manure last week. Look, no one knows what's in these bags of cow manure anymore, but you do with Whoflungdung. You know exactly what's in it because it says so on the pack. So remember, folks, still keep up the water. Get those soil microbes purring along. And you can use the Whoflungdung to feed soil microbes, and it also works as a blanket to keep the soil and the warmth in the soil, which is great. And don't forget to give your fruit and your citrus trees some gigantic well before the winter dormancy. Do it now and then do it once more at the end of autumn. Whoflungdung and gigantic available at numerous garden centres and all the good nurseries. And you can special order Whoflungdung at Bunnings. How good's that? Yuri, always good to chat.
No worries, Graham. Have a fantastic week. Cheers.
You too, pal. Yeah. Get some Whoflungdung, get some gigantic out there, and your fruit trees and your garden's going to look great.
Australia, to help you.